Okay, this is number 22. 22 is 8.5C, and this is category 3. Category 3 is linear functions. Alright, so I have a graph of a line, and it's asking which equation can be represented by this graph shown. And this is not in any standard that I'm used to. So what I need to do is I need to make all of these look like this, because that's what I'm used to whenever I'm dealing with a straight line. I can identify the slope, I can identify the y-intercept. So I'm going to change all of those to look like this, then compare to my line. I'm going to jot down some notes though. I notice that the y-intercept is 2, and it's also going downward, so this is a negative slope. This information is going to help me eliminate any of these answer choices that is not correct. Alright, so let's do the first one. Whenever I move anything to the other side, if it's negative over here, it's going to be positive over here. So I'm going to leave the 8y on this side, and when I move this 3x over here, it's negative now, it's going to become a positive 3x, and that's a negative, it's going to become a negative 16. So I moved them at the same time. Now I need to divide everything by 8, and I'll have my equation the way I want it. When you first looked at these, it probably looked like it was going to take a lot of steps, but really you can move things at the same time. So 8 cancels out, so y is equal to 3/8x. Negative 16 divided by 8 is negative 2. As soon as I see that this is a negative 2, and I know that that's not going through that, I know F is not it. Alright, next one. Same thing. I'm going to keep my negative 8y over here. Moving my positive 3x is going to become a negative 3x. That positive 16 becomes a negative 16. Divide everything by negative 8 this time. Y equals, that cancels out. Negative divided by negative is a positive. Negative divided by negative is a positive. So this has the correct y-intercept, but I want my slope to be negative. So that's a problem. My slope is not negative. So I don't think it's this one. Alright, let's do the next one. Negative 8y, that negative 3x becomes a positive 3x when I move it over. And this becomes a positive 16 when I move it over. Divided by negative 8. Those cancel out. Y is equal to negative 3/8 and 16 negative 2. Once again, this negative 2 means this is not right. So now I'm going to do the last one. I move the 3x and the negative 16 to the other side. So I keep my positive 8y. That's going to be negative 3x and positive 16. Divide everything by positive 8. Y is equal to negative 3/8x plus 2. My slope is negative and my y-intercept is positive 2. My answer is J. In this case, if you notice, all of these had the same slope except it was either positive or negative. And it's much easier to focus on the y-intercept than worry about the slope, especially if the lines are a little thick. Sometimes when you count rise over run, if you don't have answer choices, you need to do that. But since you do have answer choices, you need to use your answer choices to figure out what your slope is supposed to be. Alright, let's look at 23. The first 5 terms in a pattern are shown. If the pattern continues, which one can be, which expression? Basically, they're asking me for the rule. So we've done this. When I set up my table, an N is first, second, third, fourth, fifth. That's what N is, which term. This is my rule. And this is the actual term. So the first number is -5/10. The second number is -25/100. The third number is 0. The fourth number is +25/100. And the fifth number is +5/10. Whenever I have a table like this, I know I want to do change in y over change in x to figure out my slope. So from here to here, it's going up by 25/100. From here to here, same thing. It's going up by 25/100. 0 to 0.25 is going up by 25/100. And all of these go up by 1. So what does that tell me? My slope, change in y over change in x, is 25/100 over 1, which is 25/100. So that's the number that goes here. Parentheses. Then whatever is in my nth column or my x column, it goes here. Now I just need to figure out what I'm going to add or subtract to get to here. 0.25 times 1 is just 0.25. What do I add or subtract to get to -5/10? I need to subtract 0.75. And I can use my calculator to check it. 0.25 minus 0.75, and I get -5/10. Now I'm going to try the next one. I should still be able to subtract 0.75. 0.25 times 2 gives me 0.5. Then when I subtract 0.75, I get -0.25. I really don't have to keep going because now I have figured out my rule. If I replace this with the letter N, this is my rule. I come over here and find it. It's not that. This is negative. It's not that. This is the one I'm looking for. That's not right either. So the answer is C. Let's look at number 24. Oh, and number 23, this is 8.3b in category 2. Category 2 is properties and attributes of functions. Number 24. This is 8.10a, category 5. X squared minus 4x equals -1. They want me to find the solutions to this. As soon as I see the way it looks, this reminds me of the quadratic formula, which is on your formula chart. This is the formula you need to use for this problem. So I'm going to write down the quadratic formula. X equals -b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. I know it looks complicated, but if you just plug in, then you'll know what's what. The first thing I need to do is identify a, b, and c But I need to change this to all of it equaling to 0 by just moving the -1 over here to +1. So that's going to be x squared minus 4x plus 1 equals 0. Normally I would use my factors and sums, but when I look at these answer choices and I see what they look like, I know that factors and sums is not going to work for this one, and I need to use the quadratic formula. So A is 1, B is -4, and C is 1. So I plug it in, x is equal to, I'm going to put my negative, come over here and find B, -4, plus or minus the square root, whatever B is, squared, put the minus, put the 4. A is 1, C is 1. All of that divided by 2 times A. Now I'm going to simplify it. Those two negatives make a positive. Plus or minus. -4 times -4 is positive 16. 4 times 1 times 1 is 4, so minus 4. 2 times 1 is 2. Simplify it even further. 16 minus 4 is 12. So come over here and see if I can find my answer. This is my answer. +4, so I know this is not it, because that's a negative. And also the 20. I know it should be 12. 4 plus or minus 12 over 2. That -4 isn't right. And here, it shouldn't be 20. So my answer is G. Okay, let's look at 25. 25 is 8.4a, category 2. For this problem, all I'm doing is setting this equal to y. So I'm going to rewrite it. And I basically just want to do DCVNS. I don't have distributed property. I don't have combined like terms, but I do need to move this variable over here. And I need to move this variable over here. So first I'm going to move the 3x to this side by adding 3x to both sides. That cancels out, and that leaves me with 2y is greater than 3x plus 5y plus 9. Now I want to move the 5y over here with this 2y. Subtract the 5y. That's going to give me -3y is greater than 3x plus 9. Now all I have to do is divide everything by 3, but it's a -3. So as soon as I do this, I need to take that symbol and I need to flip it to less than. Divide by -3, divide by -3. That's going to give me -1x minus 3. So come over here and look for y is less than. That says greater, that says greater. So I know it's not those. That's a positive x, so I know it's not that, because that positive x, so the answer is D, -x minus 3. Alright, that's all for this video.